Oh my god. All the banter for the intro, it's gone.
That's on you, man.
That's not on me, man. Jack, guess what? You blew up. You exploded. We've played Sparkle Kitty. We played at John Justine forever ago, that night that you threw up when we went to Quarterdeck. Hello everyone and welcome back to Foster the Meeple, a channel all about
board games and board gamey things. Exactly.
We're here today with a new series coming at you, and it's a little bit of if you like this, then maybe you should try a little bit of that. But we're going to focus on one game each time we do it. And we wanted to do this because, you know, one of the biggest challenges that we find in this hobby, or whatever you want to call it, is that we're so good at talking to each other, we need to pull people in.
We're good at marketing the hobby to other hobbyists or marketing games to other hobbyists.
It's time to expand.
But we're not very good at bringing non-hobbyists into the hobby.
Exactly. So we're going to focus on games that are really popular, that we pretty much any time that you say, oh, I play board games, and if people say, oh, I like games, they might say one of these games. And the first game that we're going to talk about is actually one of the first games that we played.
And one I would still play and would still
enjoy.
We
don't own it, and now we want to go get it, but we want to get a different version. I want to get a different version. Anyways, that game is Exploding Kittens. So this video is all about if you like Exploding Kittens, well, why don't you try these options?
Now, in most of these cases, they're not exactly like Exploding Kittens because that would be impossible to do.
You just play Exploding Kittens.
In a lot of these instances, these are games that have similar feels, similar vibes, not only in terms of mechanism, but also in terms of vibes around the table. So that's kind of why they're on this list.
That's why they're on the
again,
list.
If you disagree with that, that's fine. But
I'm sure you'll tell us in the comments.
You'll probably tell us in the comments, and that'll be that.
That'll be that. Okay, so Exploding Kittens, for anybody that doesn't know, is a card game where everybody has a hand of cards, and you are going around laying out cards that have actions, and you're doing those actions, and eventually a card is going to come up called the Exploding Kitten. And if you are the one to flip that up, boom, you did. Unless
you have a diffuse.
You have a diffuse card, which you can say, boop, not dead, okay? It is a very, quick, fun, mean game because you can intentionally screw people over in this game. And so these are some of the things that we were thinking of when we created this list. So we have 5 recommendations that we want to throw to you. So if you are a big fan of Exploding Kittens and you're like, I'd like to play more games, why don't you try these? How about that, okay?
Let's do it.
The first game, I know many people are probably going to be very happy that we're talking about because we don't talk about it very much anymore, which we are often reminded of. That is Silver Bullet from Bezier Games.
You can throw out any of the Silver series.
Any of the Silver series, but...
Silver Bullet, Silver Coin, Silver Dagger, Silver Amulet.
Yes.
But we find Bullet is the more interactive, more kind of mean.
It's the meanest of the group. Now, Bezier Games has a new game called Scram, which is very, very similar to Silver Bullet, but you play on teams. So it's not individual. It's like you play with, say, 4 people. Me and Jeff are on a team and you and somebody else, but the mechanisms of the game are very similar. So in Silver Bullet, you have a village in front of you, and that village consists of 5 face-down cards. At the beginning of the game, you get to take a little peek-see at a couple of your cards, put them back where you found them, and there's a little bit of a memory element in this, okay? All of the cards have some kind of a special ability. On your turn, you are either drawing a card from the deck, and you are replacing one of your cards in your village with it, or you are discarding it into the discard pile and activating its ability. Most of those abilities are there to either help you figure out what cards you have or to screw somebody else over, which is the best part of this game.
For example, there might be a card that lets you look at all the cards in your village. Then Jamie might pull a card that says, I have to shuffle all of my cards in the village, which basically sucks because I just looked at them all and now I have to shuffle them all up.
Mm-hmm. It is so much fun. You are just trying to end the round with the least amount of points, and you play it over 4 rounds. Whoever has the least amount of points wins the game. Mm-hmm. That's it. It's very simple, completely card-driven, super mean, super fun.
Agreed.
We are big fans of this game. We have been since we got into the hobby, and Scram, like I mentioned, is a very, very similar version of this. It's got a different theme. It's a campsite theme, and it's played in teams. Silver Bullet is very like werewolf-esque. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is our first recommendation.
Second recommendation up is from 25th Century Games, and that is called Oh My Brains. In Oh My Brain, you are going to have a collection of cards in front of you, and the objective of this game is just to get rid of all of your cards as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. Those cards are numbered from 1 to 18, I think, or maybe 19, 20. 19. Kind of irrelevant, but they're listed 1 to 19 or 20, and those are played out in kind of sequential order. So like if you play a 1, you can beat a 1 with a 2. Mm-hmm. If you play out a 2, you can beat it with 3, etc., etc., etc. And you're trying to get rid of cards in your hand. You have a set of brains next to you. If at any point you are not able to play a card, for example, let's say the card in the middle of the table is a 18, and you don't have anything higher than that, or another card that might let you play down, you lose one of your brains and you have to draw a card.
Brain.
At the end of the round, for however many cards you have left in your hand, you lose that many brains.
Yeah.
Last person with brains left in their pile wins the game.
Exactly.
It's very straightforward card play. There's a couple little triggers on cards that will let you do special abilities, like, an 8 will let you do reverse order. So an 8, the next card actually has to be lower than 8. Mm-hmm. 1s can be played on anything, etc., etc. There's some abilities to be able to go again on your turn, that sort of thing. Yeah,
some of the cards have a dice symbol, so you'll roll the dice and it'll tell you what to do. A lot of those actions that come from the dice are how this game gets mean, because you are just trying to fill up everyone else's graveyards in their hands with cards so that you have a better chance of winning. And that's the fun of this game, in my opinion. It's literally like filling people's hands up with other things, and you can play multiples of the same number down, and if you do, you lay one down and then you place your other cards in other people's graveyard. And it's all zombie animals, so it's a really, really fun theme. It's very rowdy game.
It's very rowdy, it's very simple to play, and it's just cards, a dice, and a couple tokens.
Yep, exactly. The next game that we want to talk about is a game called Buried Treasure. Buried Treasure, not buried, buried.
Like berries.
It's a pie theme game.
Like raspberry.
Like raspberry or blueberry, maybe a tayberry.
What's a tayberry?
That's what Schmidt says, the new girl. She made a lot of jams. She probably needs strawberries, blueberries, maybe a tayberry.
I don't remember that.
That's when he has a thumb ring.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I do remember the thumb ring.
Anyways, Buried Treasures from Restoration Games, and this is a game where you are trying to collect different sets of pies. The pies come in many a flavor. There's lemon pie, blueberry pie, chocolate pie, and strawberry pie. And every round, one of the types of pies is going to be worth more points. So you are trying to get the most of that kind of pie, but essentially you're just trying to collect many sets of pies. Where the meanness comes in this game is all of the cards are kind of laid out in a bit of a grid where some of them are covering other things. And so you are pulling and revealing what's underneath some of those cards. So you are taking something which then is going to either free something up for somebody, or maybe you're taking something somebody else wants. Some of the cards have little raccoon hands on them, and the raccoons like to steal pies. They steal them right out your window, okay? Never saw it coming, neither. And I never got caught, neither. If there are 2 raccoon hands on the pie, you get to choose somebody around the table and steal 2 pies of that color from that person, which is great. So you are just stealing pies and you're collecting pies. There's also a card that says more, which allows you to take a second pie. That's the game. It's very simple. It's very mean. And you play it over a series of rounds. Whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's one of those things because it's tough because there might be a card that you want to take. Like, let's say you need the blueberry pies and you're like, oh, there's a blueberry pie there. I really need it. But if I open that up, then
it's 2 chocolate pies for somebody who needs it.
Or there's like raccoon hands, and I know that they could just end up taking this pie back from me if they so choose. Like, it's really fun and like interesting in terms of like that dynamic between like, well, if I take this, I'll leave you the raccoon hands, but you can't steal from me.
And they could be like,
and they'll be like, sure. And then they'll take it, and then they'll take your pies. It's super mean. It's very, very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Next one up is, I think, one that's getting close to that realm of like everyone has played it or at least heard of it, and that is Sushi Go. We're using the Sushi Go variant as opposed to Sushi Go Party variant of it because Sushi Go Party is just a bit bigger tin, whatever. More people, yada yada. It's very similar in terms of like set collection to like Buried Treasure and stuff. There's a bunch of different like sushi types or sushi adjacent things in this game, and they all score points differently. Like the wasabi, which is like my favorite card in any game because it's so freaking cute, wants to be attached to nigiri, which is like a sushi type. And if they are together, you'll score more points. They'll multiply off of each other. There's one, which is basically the more of the thing you have, the more points you'll score. You kind of get where I'm going. All of these things score differently. You're drafting between people, so you're going to take a card, pass it along, take another card, pass it along. And you're just going to keep doing that until the round's over. Score all the points, rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
And you can get mean with it because you know kind of what cards people are collecting, and you can be like, oh, I know you want that tempura because you need 2 of them to score, and if I keep this one, you're not getting another one. Tough nookies. Tough cookies. So I'm going to keep the tempura, and you're not going to score any points off of it.
Yeah, sucks. Yeah. Tough cookies. Last game that we wanted to mention is a newer game from Ravensburger, and this is called Disney Villains, the card game. So, also very welcoming theme because who doesn't love Disney? Yep. I know that we do. This is, once again, a very simple yet very mean type of card game where everybody chooses a different villain and they get a designated deck of cards. On the cards, you are going to have some villains. On the flip side, you're going to have their hero, okay? And so you are playing cards out in a circle in the middle of the table, and you are trying to have the most cards in your pile. You want more. You are a villain. Act like it. So you are trying to either play out matching colors or matching numbers onto your pile. Now, if you can't do that, because based on what's in your hand and what's on top of your pile, you get 2 options. You can either place one of your cards on top of somebody else's pile, which is giving them more points, or you can put your hero card face up. But that's going to cost you some negative points at the end of the game. Each one of the villains also has a special ability that most likely is either going to help you or screw somebody over. Yep. So ultimately, that's the game. You are just going around until there are no more cards. You've got your deck of cards, and then you're going to see who has the most points at the end of the game. It's super simple. It's super fun. It's quick, and it is surprisingly rowdy. It is. It is a very deceptive game. Like, you wouldn't think that it would be as much fun as it is just based on...
It looks very simple.
Just a deck of cards. Yeah, it looks very simple, but it is super fun, and it could be a nice one to add to the collection if that sounds like something that you're into. So, those are 5 games that we would recommend if you are a fan of Exploding Kittens. There's also many variations of Exploding Kittens. Definitely. There's Exploding Minions, which is the one that I want because, I don't know if you knew this, I'm obsessed with Minions. There's lots of games out there that you can try, and if you're interested, the important thing. And if you're new and you want to ask questions, well, guess what? You can join our Discord. Yeah. We have lots of people in there that have played millions of games and know all of the things. So feel free to jump into the Discord and come hang out. Next time we do one of these, we'll pick another game and we'll do another list, and it's going to be exciting. Yep. because that's how it works. All right, now if you're interested in buying board games like any of the 5 that we mentioned today, including Exploding Kittens, you should first start by checking your friendly local gaming store, and for us, that is
Boardroom Game Cafe.
Heck yeah, it is. Do you like snacks?
I do.
Perfect. Where should you go?
Munch Pack.
Amazing. We were just munching some Munch Pack snacks.
We were.
This is one of them. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see,
please subscribe.
We hope to see you again soon. And now we say goodbye. Goodbye!
Later days.
Sounded like you called her bean sauce.
Call her Beanzos.
You okay, bean sauce? Done. Dunzo finito. Mozzarella. Pizza pockets, baguettes. What are we going to order for food on the weekend when we have our game day?
Ordering food?
I don't know.
We get burritos.
For where?
That place in Bridgewater.
All right, Jeff. We're not recording. Or we stayed at the quarter deck and you disappeared. And I was like, where's Jeff?
I remember the quarter deck. Oh, why did I throw up?
I don't know. You were just like, you went upstairs and everybody else knew what was going on except for me. And you came down and I was like, what happened? And you're like, you threw up. And I was like, and then I panicked because, I'm
was
afraid
it booze?
to throw up. No. I think you were gassy.
I don't remember.
You just couldn't handle it. Couldn't handle your gas. What do you mean?
You know what I mean.
What do you mean? We can't have 2 wives? You only get 1 wife.
Where you have a draft market. Not draft. Yeah, it's draft.
Yep, because you're thinking of BGA. You have it in your hand and then you pass. On BGA, it shows you as a market.
Yeah, right.
You were looking very longingly at the potato sticks. Did you want some?
No.
Beans like Dad.
Beans!
Dad is enough.
Beans loves Exploding Kittens. She doesn't want anything to do with me right now. What a butt.